And now for somewhere we hope would meet with Dr. Bellamy's approval.
Unspoilt scenery, quiet, beautiful beaches, rural bliss. That's how the Scillys advertise themselves. Bill Buckley took the short hop from the mainland to the island of St Mary's to take a look at this, the most western part of England.
These tiny islands are like the rural England of many years ago, crossed with somewhere altogether more exotic. Everyone knows everyone, so there's next to no crime, just peace and a slow pace, plus endless beaches and a kind climate. All this just a few minutes from mainland Britain, if you take the helicopter from Penzance or the skybus from Land's End. The Scilly III, also from Penzance, takes 2.5 hours. There's been much controversy over the runway on St Mary's, which is now being extended to accommodate larger planes. Those in favour say the same number of tourists will be able to come on fewer aircraft. But this spectacular coastal path will have to be diverted, and some fear they'll end up with the same number of flights and more tourists. A walk around the island reveals strange sights, including rocks said to resemble Queen Victoria's profile, Sydney Opera House, and even a witch's head. No, I don't think so either. There are countless coves and beaches to spare. On a hot day, the fine white sand could kid you you're in the Caribbean. Now, this hole is a disused kelp pit where they used to burn seaweed to make soda ash to make soap. As industrial scars on the landscape go, it's not so bad really, is it? This village was built about 200 years BC. Mind you, that's quite recent compared with some of the things around here. This burial chamber is at least 3,500 years old. They used to build these on top of the hills in the days when the Scillys were, well, the Scilly, just one big island. Then, of course, the sea level rose with stunning results. Take a walk round Star Castle, an Elizabethan fort that's now a hotel. Ramparts really were ramparts in those days. Here, they're 18 feet thick. Of course, soldiers in those days were much shorter. You find the strangest things on these islands. For example, this is a smuggler's cave. And what's even stranger is there's a cameraman in it. You may think this is a tombstone, and it is, but it's also a coffin. It contains Abraham Legg, a naval surgeon who died in 1809 and asked to be buried upright, facing the sea. And he's not the only one. There are many Scillonians buried here who lost their lives at sea. You leave the graveyard by crossing a Cornish stile, which is really a stone cattle grid. Many of those deaths were caused by bad navigation, and the way the trade ships chose their pilots encouraged that. Applicants were rowed out in these gigs to the ships, and the first man to touch the side got the job, however skilled or unskilled he was. The gig racing is still celebrated twice weekly in summer, up to 2,000 watch, and there's much inter-island rivalry. A win for St Mary's, the main island, very nearly 3 miles across at its widest point. Book early, as accommodation is limited and, due to strict building regulations, not about to increase. And even if the Scillonians wanted to wreck their paradise with overdevelopment, they couldn't because of water, or rather lack of it. There's only just enough to serve the existing buildings, so if you come to the islands, don't waste it. But do come if you can. Apart from the other delights, accommodation, like this self-catering, is almost always of a high standard. And do see the other islands and the wildlife en route, like these shags, smaller cousins of the cormorant. And this is Bishop's Rock Lighthouse. Next stop, America. The island of Briar, population 80. Again, accommodation that's guaranteed scrimp-free. And on so small an island, it's not at all rare to get a view of rare beauty. the Isle of Tresco with the famous Tresco Gardens, where southern hemisphere subtropical plants flourish. Even banana trees grow outdoors and they export to Kew Gardens. This Valhalla houses the figureheads of ships wrecked off the islands during the past 300 years. Tresco allows no cars, so it's a tractor, not a limo ride, to the upmarket Island Hotel. This is the top-of-the-range Menevor suite, so called because you have a view of the Menevor Rock. Charles and Diana are Tresco fans. It's a smart island. But we're off again to St Agnes. After a blustery boat trip, nothing warms the cockles better than a rum and shrub at the island's only pub. The shrub in here, incidentally, is nothing to do with the gardens in Tresco. It's actually a cordial made in Bristol. Cheers. Back on St Mary's, the day trippers make the long sea journey back to Cornwall as the sun starts to sink. And the sunsets can be absolutely stunning. You should have seen last night's.
And to get to the Isles of Scilly, you have the choice of going by plane from Land's End for £66 return, from Penzance by helicopter for £74 return, or by boat for £56 return. Details of all the accommodation you saw in the film from the Tourist Information Centre, St Mary's, Isles of Scilly.